Hello and welcome to the World Collection Podcast. I am Elliot. I am here with John. We are here to bring you some positive information about the coronavirus. Here today, we are gonna.
Dude, you're on a roll.
I know I went on a roll, but I couldn't think of anything to say. I don't know why I thought about talking about the coronavirus. Looking at too much Reddit, I guess.
Yeah, it's in the front seat of your mind.
Unfortunately, so.
Well, how could it not be, dude?
I need to pull it out of the front seat, and I need to put it in a double-strapped child seat in the back.
Mm-hmm. You know, you could do that mentally. Like, there's this movie called Dr. Sleep. Have you heard about that one?
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's the sequel to The Shining. Have you heard about that one?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. You see, I don't watch a lot of movies.
Hey, you know, that's totally cool. Well, anyway, it's a mental technique. I thought it was pretty interesting. They keep, like, these mental... like landscapes or libraries where they lock things up physically but in their mind, and in doing so it kind of is like their superpower. They have these crazy precise minds. Like, they'll take something very specific and accurate, and then they'll lock it up in a box in their mind and be able to pull it out and access it later,
like photographic memory style stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a way of like file storage in their head.
And you're saying they could train themselves to do this?
Yep.
So do you think that this is actually a possibility? I've never seen the movie. This is all I know about is what you've just told me. Do you think that that is a far-fetched idea, or do you think that that could be achieved?
They say that this is the mental technique used by Sherlock Holmes. You know, like...
But, like, what... How do we know Sherlock Holmes wasn't just, like,
he was
born
made up.
Gifted?
He was made up.
Oh, shit, what the...
You know? He was just a character in some stories, but in his stories, he would go into his mind palace, and he would, like, shuffle around things. I don't know.
Okay, but there are people who exist with photographic memories.
Yeah.
Which is...
That'd be cool if it existed.
Yeah, but it would be even cooler. It does, doesn't it? Like, I swear. There are people who have, like photograph... Like, I know it's not... I don't even know.
Yeah.
Very accurate memories. They can fit a lot in.
Yeah.
And if it would be possible to train that in yourself, that would be very interesting.
There's this one guy online that tries to sell programs to help you get, like, faster at reading and faster at memorizing things. His name is Jim Quick, and
like Jim Click.
Yeah, but Quick. It's Kwik, Jim Quick, and he's just like, I used to be a normal person just like you. Until I learned these techniques. He tells this story about what inspired him to get really good at memorizing things. I can't remember it, but it's kind of funny. You should look it up if you ever get a chance. And he has pretty good systems, but a lot of it is like, if you want to remember names, you have to basically take the first letter of the person's name and then think of a related word, like one of the first things that comes to mind. And then from there, you build associations. And then later on, based off of those associations, you can recall the person's name.
But that is just scratching the surface of what your memory could possibly have to offer you as names.
Yeah.
Like, think about in the sense of, like, studying for a test or something, like studying material
Facts.
and learning facts. Exactly. Think of how much better at that you would want to get out of a better memory, as opposed to just simply... I mean, I guess you got to start somewhere. Start with names.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I feel like there's just so... The ceiling is so high of what you could possibly do.
A super genius if you applied yourself that way.
And who's to stop you? Like, are people born with, like, some sort of mental governor, or could you, like, train yourself to become like that creativity that would come with someone like Einstein?
Yeah.
Like, I know you could train yourself to read the books and learn the stuff, but to make breakthroughs and to be like, I feel like that's where you see a true genius, is people who innovate like that.
Yeah.
Can you make yourself that?
I don't know. I think that if anything, you'd have to treat it like a skill, but it's like sculptors that only cut once, you know, and just go for it, basically.
They don't even measure twice?
No, they don't even measure once. They just cut, and they shape and they form it as they go, and then out comes their end product, which is usually freaking awesome. Like some people have that capacity. I know I sure as heck don't.
But could you is the thing.
Exactly. I think maybe you'd have to really, really dedicate yourself though.
Yeah, it'd have to be something you want to do. So, but who doesn't want to get better at that, or who wouldn't want to get better at that?
Yeah.
So, what if someone offered you not a pill that would do it for you, but offered you a plan in which you could take that you could achieve this, like a proven plan, like it's going to work if you do it? Would you do it?
Like, well, that kind of makes me think if I would buy that guy's program.
But how do you know? Like, it needs to be something with like solid proof.
Yeah. Okay. So like, that changes it up a little bit.
Some guy on the internet could sell whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah. I've looked into it, and the stuff that they try and teach all seem like basic techniques that are just refined over a long period of time. Like what most people don't really realize based off of, at first glance, is that the people trying to sell you their programs who teach these techniques, they've been doing it for a long time and they've put in a lot of reps. It's basically like buying a program from a bodybuilder who's been doing it for 25 years. Like, yeah, this is probably the exact program that he's doing and it's modified for you in some way, but just because it's similar to what he's doing or the exact same thing doesn't mean that you're going to get the same results unless you put in all that time and all that consistency and all that effort. So I would spend money on a course, but only if I was ready to seriously dedicate myself to it. What about you?
Yeah, I think I would. I think that'd be cool. I've honestly never even really thought to improve that, to take the time to do so, because as I was asking you, like, I didn't even know if it was possible. But I believe you that there are people that do train people on this type of stuff. But you're right, you gotta really want it, because I'm sitting here like, yeah, I would like a better memory, and I would like to be, better at learning things, train that over time.
Yeah.
But I think just doing it, the more you do it, the better you get.
That's essentially what you do.
Like without any extra tips, like just how you would normally. But learning can be difficult depending on the subject and how it is presented to you. Like online learning, for instance, I feel is definitely more difficult because if you're in a class or something, like in college, you're going to go to lectures and then you're going to read the stuff and then, do similar stuff. Basically with the online, you don't get that real life talking to, I guess, like in real time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you might get some like videos and stuff like that, but it's just different and it makes it harder, I think.
It doesn't feel like a real experience.
It does, and it requires everything's on you with online classes, because I mean, you're gonna get a little bit of communication from like the teacher or something probably about and getting your stuff in on time and whatnot, but to have to put it upon yourself to do all this work, like 100% of it, as opposed to like doing something in class, if you're not in a class, it's harder, I think.
Definitely less accountability.
Yeah.
Which, I haven't taken that many college classes, but I've taken a few to know that there's not that much accountability there either. Like, really, they don't care. If you don't show up, it's not their problem.
You gave them money.
Yeah, right. But I guess that's the same online.
Dude, that's even more reason to...
It's different.
But, like, the fact that you're paying for it, like, with college or whatever sort of vocational education you may be interested in doing or doing, if you're paying for that, like, I think you got to take that very seriously. Even if it's not, like, if you're in college doing your prereqs or something, even if it's not something that you're terribly interested in.
Yeah.
This is a mistake I made when I went to college for a period of time, was not taking that stuff seriously. And I wish I would have.
Yep, I agree. I did the same thing. Actually, it's funny. I dropped out of my first nutrition class. Yeah, I love the subject, but it was not convenient for my schedule, and I just stopped before, I couldn't get my money back. And I said, hey, I didn't really need this class. I'm just not ready to dive in. And I stopped. Shouldn't have done that. Dude, I should have just taken it seriously and applied myself.
Hindsight.
Yeah, look.
This is how you learn here. And now the fact that now we agree about this and how, maybe if we could have gone back in time, we would have done it differently.
Yeah, very.
It's not too late for us.
Yeah.
Like, we could still make something happen as far as our learning goes. Heck, we could even go enroll back in college and try it again,
right,
and actually pull through. I got a few credits waiting for me. You probably do too.
Yeah.
You gotta use them before they dry up.
Right. I think the biggest mistake, man, was back then. It felt like you could do something and it wasn't going to take that much effort. And you thought, okay, I think I'll still be all right. And then I realized just through the normal passing of time that no matter what you do, you're going to end up having to put a crap ton of effort if you ever want it to pan out successfully. And so I figured, man, I shouldn't have skipped out on those classes on furthering my education academically, because I ended up pursuing the same knowledge just via alternative routes and applying the same effort. So it's I had to earn it somehow.
No, you probably put in more effort doing it that way, because there's a lot of nuance to the situations, because neither of us, I don't think, know what we wanted to do back when we were going to college.
Yeah.
We didn't know what kind of career we wanted. I sure did not myself. But now we've both taken a lot of time. You have taken more than me, I can confidently say, in pursuing education on your own, which I think is harder, because like we were saying before, if you don't have a teacher there or a class that guides you through and someone holding your hand, so to say, you have to be the student and the teacher. You're in charge of finding the courses and information that is going to be the most credible, first of all. Again, with school and stuff, their curriculums can be government curriculums, especially. And here we are, back to the conspiracy podcast. I don't know.
No, there's a lot of stuff you learn that independently that they don't teach in school. That's for sure.
Well, nutrition for one. If there's anything, and fitness, think back to if in high school, if you had a certain number of classes that you had to take to graduate, and then you had a certain amount of classes you could fill with electives. Mm-hmm. The ones that you had to graduate were math and English and science, and the ones that you could choose for electives would be things like PE or a nutrition class. Yeah. So first of all, not essential toward your graduation. Although I remember back when I was in high school, you did have to take a driver's ed and nutrition class. But the nutrition class was they made these so when you were a freshman, they would give you this, or maybe it was sophomore, I can't remember, but they would give you this schedule where for a quarter of the year you do driver's ed, a quarter of the year you do health, or health is actually what it was. It wasn't even fully nutrition, but they did talk a little bit about it. And then for the rest of the year, they gave you another class. Wow. So it was, you get a quarter of a year on health or nutrition, some nutrition, other things about your body, things that you would think should be super freaking important. Because if there's anything that we all have in common that we should be learning, is how to take care of our bodies for the sake of a long and what's the right word? I just lose my train of thought. A long and just quality life. There's another word that would have been better, but
active. I don't know. Independent.
All of these words really work, but they don't tell you none of this stuff. Man, you gotta go seek this stuff out on your own.
It's very true. Look,
it's crazy.
How about a little more emphasis in regards to health and a class that teaches you how to do your damn taxes.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit less emphasis on math.
Yeah. Jeez, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's, we could go on all day about our issues with school. I mean, hated that back then. Though I hated school, I wish I would have tried harder, because nothing bad would have come out of like having like a 4.0 GPA or something that is like completely attainable.
Yeah.
With just, a bit of application on your part. Probably could have got like a scholarship or something. You change your life a lot.
Yeah.
So I just think that I approach education now in a far more serious manner. I do see there being a time in the future when I do get back into college and then pursue something, because I actually know I have a direction now.
Yeah.
But if I did that, when I do that, I'm going to smash it. I'm going to get really good grades, and even in the subjects that I'm not interested in, because why the hell not? Like,
Yeah,
it's not going to do anything bad for you if you have straight A's. Like, that's all I can say.
classes don't last forever, but no, the attitude has to be there too. You're right. That's the most important thing. You have to want it. And the difference is back then, like you said, there's a lack of direction. And so it's hard to want it when you don't know exactly where it's taking you. And you really don't have a perception of time back in those days being younger. I mean, 1 year basically feels like 5.
There's so much discovery you do in that time too. Like, as you gain more independence in your life, like your thoughts aren't so much on reading The Catcher in the Rye as they are on, going out and with your car that you just got because you're a 16-year-old and you have plans with your friends on the weekends. Like, that shit is gonna take a backseat to that 100% of the time. And I don't regret, I mean, that's what I used to do at least, and I don't regret doing that and not getting the best grades. Like, I graduated and not with anything stellar. Like, I honestly don't even remember what my grades looked like, but probably very average.
Yeah.
But I know, looking back at it, I could have done so much better.
Oh, man. I had very little interest in school because I did a great deal of studying outside of it. I loved learning, but not what they were teaching. I don't know. Just didn't click. I didn't gym
quick?
I didn't gym quick. I was convinced that there was little value from it, and that was a huge, obviously that's a mistake.
Big selling point for education right there.
Yeah. Well, I was that kid in math class going, when are we going to use this? Never. I'm good at math when I have a calculator. Okay? And that's pretty much all I'll ever need it for, is basic things. But I didn't really know that. Not that I've used complex math at all.
That's the other problem, though. Like, how do you expect kids to know this stuff? Like, I mean, maybe some people do just, like, know, like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And they have the grit and fortitude to actually make that happen, like, from a young age.
Yeah.
But because you learn new things every day when you're, I mean, even now, at whatever age you are, you still should try to. But especially when you're younger, like, there's a lot more that's new to you.
Yeah.
'Cause you haven't seen it. And so, like, how could you expect someone to, like, pick something if they don't even know all the options?
Let alone even tried anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was a huge part of it for me, was trying things and failing and then going up.
It's like, oh, you want to be a marine biologist? You're in Tucson, just like,
yeah. Dude, that's so funny. So many people I've heard say that one. But it's true.
But, like, yeah,
you gotta
if
try
you
it out,
love
man.
the ocean or something like that. But, like, dude, for me, like, if someone was, like, to try to push marine biology, I mean, I've never even been to the ocean.
Right? Yeah, we're landlocked.
I've been to Silver Bell Lake. Is that marine?
Yeah. You study the stench. Like, why does it smell this way? Why is the water blue in this part and green in this part?
I study and appreciate.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I think that something that so many people would have benefited from, and I know we would have benefited from at certain parts in our lives, younger and older, was learning about how to take care of your body, but in a manner of correcting things, or I don't even want to say correcting, but just
I think
morphing.
That's actually a really good way to think about it, is correcting things too, because you can kind of think about
Like a user manual.
Yeah, you're like your own mechanic.
Yeah.
And because you can be like, to an extent, of course, like, yeah, you get super sick, you probably got to go to the hospital. But for minor things, like, you're in charge, buddy.
Right. And I think having an awareness of the state of health that you're in and what should be considered like baseline and neutral is a really healthy thing to have, because it's just like knowing all your levels in your car are correct, or at least within the limits and range that they should be in. And then when it goes over or under, depending on what the issue is, or if you have cosmetic wear, like, I don't know, tires are underinflated, you want to be able to see these things and then know what to do. Like, obviously that's super helpful down the line.
Yeah, I always thought the auto mechanics analogy is very good, because it's really pretty much that. It's like your body is a vehicle, and it requires maintenance. And just because you don't need a wrench to do it doesn't mean that there isn't still something to do. Yeah. So, for instance, well, actually, to back up a little bit, I think it's hard for people to know when something's wrong at times, just because of the lack of education there. So that's like the first hurdle, is like
establish baseline.
Yeah, like establishing that baseline is going to be like, because a lot of people just don't even know. Like, if they have messed up posture or something, or if they might feel a little overweight but be severely overweight, I don't know, like, have a different perception of what it is.
Yeah. And so not everything is obvious. So I think that's why it would be a little difficult to teach on most things, but just highlighting and emphasizing the importance of these ranges that your body should be in is a good thing. I don't know. Nowadays, I get the feeling that people would kind of misconstrue it and make it like a fat shaming type thing, because there's a good amount of overweight and obese people in our country. It's almost a majority,
isn't it?
Percentage.
Well, I mean, overweight.
60% is overweight.
So that's definitely the majority, though.
Mm-hmm. So to tell all these people that they are out of the limit and the range of health is, I don't know, I think it could be seen as kind of like, some people would be sensitive to it.
But to be honest,
it should be. It should be emphasized.
The repercussions, the short-term repercussions at least, will mostly be felt by them and their family. Mm-hmm. Like, whoever is going to be affected by the decline in an obese person's health, the inevitable decline. Yeah. Because it's just not good for you, not good for anybody.
No.
But like, I feel like the medical system has a lot to profit off of these people at this point, now that it's so prevalent. Mm. You could even make the argument that it was a calculated effort to turn the population obese. See, now, okay, we're going to stop on a conspiracy again. See, I don't know much about any conspiracies along this lines, but I do know that there have been certain funky things that have gone on as far as propaganda targeting certain nutrition aspects.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The sugar industry had it out for fat for a long time. And that was to mostly establish their foothold in the market and be able to market these sugary treats that are freaking amazing and nearly impossible. It's not impossible.
Please tell us about the thing you watched about the heroin, the crack, and the Oreos.
Yeah, okay. Well, there it is. That's the setup. You have a science experiment, and this is a real one that I just heard about this morning. I was listening to a TED Talk a lady was giving on addictive behaviors and lifestyle. And so one of the examples she brought up was this study where they offered a group of mice heroin. They offered another group crack, and they offered another one Oreos. And so then they would test and see what the mice would go for in a single setting, with all three options. What would they go for most? It was the Oreos. They went for the Oreos more often than not, and they did start with the center. Crazy. But is
so good.
They're very, very good. They light up the pleasure center of your brain like it's Christmas. And I mean, I'm sure even just the thought of it lights up the pleasure center of your brain. That's how addictive these things are. So
That's why I think they should be illegal.
Yeah.
Like what? And they have zero nutritional value. Like maybe to a starving person,
Yeah.
they might be like a decent, but like
It's got all the macros.
it's a horrible food to choose. Like honestly, like I try not to put things now. Like it's a horribly as far as nutrition, but it's absolutely delicious.
Hyper
And,
palatable.
yeah, try not to, like someone breaks out some Oreos, try not to eat them. Like, oh my god, I hate them, but I love them at the same time.
That's double stuffed.
It's just not fair.
Yeah.
A couple weekends ago, we were doing some s'mores, and we also had Oreos. And
Some
made
dirty stuff went down.
Yeah, made some s'more Oreos, s'moreos. I don't know. But oh my god.
So we tried a couple different variations. It was open one Oreo up and then put the marshmallow inside of that, or take 2 Oreos and put the marshmallow inside of that. So you're having like 4 of the wafers and 2 of the fillings with a marshmallow holding it all together.
Oh, I did mine a Oreo and a marshmallow in between 2 graham crackers.
Oh, dude, wow. There you go. That's intensity. But see,
God.
okay, while we might seem like addicts here, we are, I like to think we're pretty good at practicing restraint when it comes to these things. And this is
You
the
have
trick.
to be, yeah.
Don't buy them. So it's exactly what the companies don't want to
If
hear.
you do buy them, buy that little tiny tube that they have like by the register, and then
The gas station ones.
yeah, like don't get the big box.
No. Family pack.
Oh my god. But on the other hand, if you really want to test your discipline, go ahead and get them, because it's possible to completely ignore them, but
Yeah.
it definitely makes things more difficult. If you are struggling with your weight, yeah, probably don't buy them. But if you've got that kind of thing under control, you're all good.
Yeah.
But again, if you are struggling with your weight and you buy them, it's just gonna be harder. It's not impossible.
Yeah, it's just if weight loss is a priority, then I would recommend not having them around, because there's a law. I like rule better. Law sounds kind of crazy.
Bylaw.
It's a bylaw. That
What's a bylaw?
If you have it, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
I feel like it should be 2 of them, but anyway,
Right?
continue.
2-parter. If you have it, it will be eaten. If it's in the house, it will be eaten. So any type of junk food or snack, if it's in your house and your priority is to lose weight or to lose fat, well, you're probably going to eat it at some point. It's going to be hard not to. The inevitable cheat meal or day or some way that you can justify it will happen. Unless you are that disciplined, in which case I applaud you, because that's almost superhuman levels of effort there. And, you deserve that kind of treatment. So good on you.
Yeah, you honestly deserve an Oreo if you have that good. As a matter of fact, you deserve a whole box of them.
There you go. But see, okay, well, we do say, or you often say that Oreos should be illegal. Now, this is what happens when industries vouch for themselves so hard and then give money to people who are in a position to make the laws, bylaws especially. So if they're making all these laws, or just kind of giving a whole entire industry a helping hand, these snacks become a foothold. And so you are now on the counter side of the majority here. Majority vote is these are freaking delicious and we need to have them around. But what they do is they alter our way of thinking and are designed to do that. They make us really, really excited mentally, which turns into an addiction, really simply.
Well, I think that at some point in the past, or maybe multiple points, I know for a fact that, 10, 15 years ago, I think it was probably like when Bush was president or something, they started taking like that kind of junk food out of schools, at least, to kind of start to get rid of that conditioning to just like that's normal to eat that stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of greater warn people that those are probably not the best things that you could be eating. So that's good at least. But
It's a step forward.
it is. But it's just a small step, because it's not like, I don't know. I feel like people should just be more informed about the dangers that may come with this kind of stuff. Like, it sounds really weird to say now. I just had a picture of like a weird like warning sign in the supermarket aisle, like that's like
cigarettes have.
yeah. But like, why the hell not? Like, honestly, like if
Just
obesity
being real.
was that bad of an issue according to the government, if it was that important to them, that's like the easiest shit you could do is put signs out there. Like, it's just like traffic laws. It's like you driving around and you get pulled over and you don't know why. Maybe you're not from the area or something like that, and the police tells you did something wrong, but you didn't even know that was a law, type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like this. Like, how about you throw up a sign and at least put it in their mind before they grab it? That would be I think, a really helpful and possibly a cheap way to do some sort of deterrent on this kind of stuff, just like cigarettes, like you said.
Well, you know what? Then after that, people couldn't use the excuse of ignorance.
Yeah,
Because
yes.
the warning is in no unclear terms. It's very straightforward. Like, hey, these are the risks here. You know what you're getting yourself into. And then from there, hey, that's a start.
Or warning on the package. But oh my God, like,
Yeah.
you really think that Oreo is gonna put a warning label on their package warning you about the dangers of excess consumption over
Not a
time?
good business move.
Yeah,
It'd have to be imposed.
It would, but oh my, where are the good politicians? Okay, that's just enough. Like, I've never really even thought about it going up this high with the conspiracies and stuff. But that's one enough. They want you fat for some reason.
Yeah.
Because it would be, they could do a lot more to address the obesity issue in this country and in Western civilization for the most part. Because I'm pretty sure, I know America is like the fattest freaking country, but you know, other countries that have like the level of civilization that we do, I guess,
Yeah.
also have
Obesity.
a larger issue than other places. But wow,
American
here,
companies not helping out much. I mean,
well,
Saudi
it's all about money.
Arabia's they love it.
There's so much money in it. First of all, that could be like one easy thing to just blame right there, is that there's so much money to be made from these companies and from subsequently the hospitals, and then the cycle of the pharmaceutical companies. There's just a ton of money on the table.
Created a cycle of profit.
Yeah, if you have a population of healthy people, goddamn, just imagine how much better this place would be. First of all, like how much better, like, and more advanced even our civilization could be. Other than having people who are so like, I don't know, it's like you got your head up your ass. But it's crazy.
I think it would have to start with the schools, dude. Okay, imagine when it came to, well, we're going to talk about fat loss today or weight loss.
Yeah,
right?
but we kind of got off on a major thing.
Hey, no, that's okay, because we can tie it in just a little bit here too and just say, imagine knowing about fat loss and all that beforehand. It's just not something that's really ever pushed. I mean, it's hard to get good information, at least when you don't know where to look.
But luckily the basis of it is very simple.
Right. But I don't know if you're like me. Well, what I did was when I first wanted to get healthier in general, a lot of the resources that I looked at were like more credible sources. So like, I don't know, I looked at the food pyramid because I didn't know what the heck I was going to eat.
Yeah, who more credible than the government?
Yeah.
Like, but they're in cahoots.
It was terrible advice. Not, just in retrospect, like it didn't really vouch for a balanced diet, nutritively speaking. It didn't give me what I needed to survive.
There's no nuance to it either. It's just
No.
like, here, this is what you do. Like,
Man.
here, get your grains at the bottom, get your
Get a lot
sweets
of
at the top or whatever. But yeah, it's not that simple. But the basis of it, like I was saying before, is something that is constant and will never change. Is that you have to burn more calories than you take in. If you can do that, you can lose weight. But where it gets complicated is how you as an individual are going to accomplish that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not to say anything about the effect that different foods have on your hormones. and the effect that different things like stress have on your hormones, which in turn can either really help or hinder your progress in terms of losing weight. I mean, you could be chronically stressed and eating like 4 pieces of lettuce and a mint every single day and thinking, oh man, well, I'm burning more than I'm taking in, but why can't I lose weight? Because you're just in a terrible spot hormonally to make very many changes. That's a desperate situation in your body. But things like that are unfortunately more common than I'd like to see, because the education isn't there. There's a lot of misconceptions, and I think that there are a lot of people who would profit from something like this, because eventually that leads to healthcare, and then it leads to maybe a recommendation from a good intentioned doctor of eat more so you can feel a little bit better, because 4 pieces of lettuce isn't going to do it. And here, refer to the food pyramid, and it creates that cycle again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And it's unfortunate that it just kind of goes that way for a lot of people. But take the advice from whoever's trying to tell you that taking care of your body is important, first of all.
Yeah.
And then just try a little bit to learn a little bit about how to do that. So for a person who wants to make any sort of big time behavioral change as far as, getting healthy and having that sort of lifestyle, the first thing that you're going to want to do is look at your entire life in the big picture and see how you're going to be able to fit that in. Because if you are that person who is overwhelmed by stress, then that needs to be a priority in what you address on your way to reaching your goals. Mm-hmm. So you can't just look at it as a one subject thing, like, hey, like getting fit is all about, you can't just say it's all about going to the gym, because that's only a part of it, and actually a pretty small part of it, honestly.
Yeah. That's just the image of it.
Yeah, and then diet too. Like that's another part of it, a significant part. But you also have to consider your stress, which, like you said, a lot of people are under a lot of it, and especially at a time like this, probably even going to get worse. I could see that happening with the ever increasing loss of jobs that's going on.
There's definitely a lot less pints of ice cream in the ice cream aisle, I'll tell you that.
Are you serious?
Oh, dude, walk through the ice cream aisle next time you get a chance, and just, I don't know if they've managed to restock at this point, but there was somewhat of a shortage on, like the cheaper stuff. You get the big giant gallon tubs. Mm-hmm. Oh man, so many less than normal.
That's crazy, because that's much better value. But that is, I wonder if there's a correlation between the ice cream flying off the shelves and people getting laid off and stuff like that.
Stress
I wouldn't
level.
doubt it either. But basically, no matter how hard things are going in your life, no matter what's stressing you, you've got to understand that letting your health and your body slip is only going to make things worse.
Yeah.
And so you should try to make a priority of at least maintaining that. If you're under a lot of stress and you can't do, a full routine, and you need to have a little bit of ice cream at night because it makes you feel a lot better, then work your other shit around it. Don't go like all or nothing. That's probably not going to be necessary, but also don't neglect taking care of yourself, because things will get worse.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want, right?
Oh yeah. No, I don't care about my well-being right now, bro.
All right. We got one of our top listeners. He is actually a former aspiring chef who now an aspiring MMA fighter. And he wants to be a high-level athlete. He wants to be an MMA fighter. Like, mm-hmm. I don't know high-level or not. You can be a low-level MMA fighter.
Wants to go undefeated.
Well, he wants to go undefeated, but he does not care about his body right now. How do we expect this listener to make the change and become an MMA fighter of any level if he doesn't care about his body? Like, your whole career is your body at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single thing that you do is going to have to reflect your goal.
All right, if this certain listener is listening right now, which I hope he is, we're here to tell you that your actions must align with your goals if you want to reach your goals, and you have to expect that it's going to take some time and it's not going to be easy. So you already knew this, I'm sure, but why not start to put some of these things in actions? You're only getting older. Trust me.
Time passes
yeah,
no
I
matter
was
what.
your age once. I'm not even old, and I feel like it's weird saying that, but it passes faster and faster. So you need to get a grip on that shit. If you want to do that, you got to get started right this second. You need to get started yesterday.
Yep. And then just keep on it, because time will go by no matter what. In 5 years time will have passed, and you could go through that time deciding not to do anything, which is a poor choice in my opinion.
Yeah, because you got nothing but time right now.
Right.
Like, you got plenty of time to pursue this interest of yours, to put in a good amount of work that's going to set a good foundation for you.
Man, and it's so worth it. But yeah, can't have that attitude that kind of goes opposite to what your goal is and then still call that your goal. You really have to make that commitment. Otherwise, just accept and agree, just like, the warning label on cigarettes. You read those, you understand them, accept and agree, you do. Every time you buy another pack or smoke another cigarette, you go, okay, carbon monoxide, cancer, yes. You understand the consequences. So understand and get real with yourself and know that by not taking action, that is an action, time's passing, and you will only see the results of your inaction. Things don't happen on their own.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be what you wanted.
Nope.
And speaking of pretty, you're not going to be able to live off your good looks for long, because first of all, if you don't take care of your body, that's going to be the first thing to go. Sure, you've got a great personality. That'll last a lifetime. But a lifetime of 35 years due to complete lack of care for the body. This is getting too far. I know you don't completely you have not moved from the toilet seat in 6 weeks. I cannot believe you. Rant over.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we could start to go over some bullet points here, because like we said, the main intent of today's episode was supposed to be weight loss and how to achieve that. We managed to tie it into a couple of different things, talking a lot about how society shapes our learning, especially in the formative years, and that it's very understandable for people to have a lack of direction. But it's not an excuse. Ignorance can never be an excuse when you have resources available to you, and all it takes is just a little bit of effort. So we applaud you, because if you're listening to this right now, you're probably headed in the right direction already. And so we hope to be that resource for you and to help give you some direction. So with that, we really highly discourage the consumption, and more specifically overconsumption, of highly processed foods.
Oreos.
Yes. That shit's more addictive than the most highly addictive drugs that we have out there. Like, come on, that's messed up, dude.
Yes, and arguably just as detrimental to your health over time. That's the key, is that, indulging in something like Oreos or crack every once in a while, it's not going to kill you.
No,
just kidding about the crack.
It's like that Russian drug crocodile, that like
eats your skin or something, or you peel your skin off or something.
Yeah, well, the first year you're good. It doesn't do anything. It just feels amazing. And so they get hooked, and they're like, hey, people say that my skin's gonna fall off, but it's been 8 months and I'm fine. I'm loving this stuff. It's great. I do more and more every day. I started trading in soda cans for crocodile. Life's good. Okay, fast forward like 4 or 5 months after that, about a year's time of steady, consistent use, and they're dying, like peeling. They can't get up out of the bed, and it's awful. It's ugly. So that's what happens with these types of substances. Some of them work their charm a little bit faster. See, they all hook you with the first one. But after that, it's kind of up to the actual substance as to how long it's going to take to show its negative effects. Don't take that risk. Don't be the crocodile user at 8 months and say, I'm good, everything's fine. Because if you stay the course, it's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. So whether it's crack, heroin, or even just Oreos.
The thing is also, not everybody may know someone whose life has been affected by hard drugs. But I can guarantee you everybody listening to this knows somebody whose life has been affected by obesity.
Yeah.
So maybe help that person out. Maybe see if they need any advice or a helping hand and help them get healthy. And if you are struggling with your weight right now, it's never too late to start to get that in check, because it's completely possible from pretty much whatever weight you're at, you can get back down to a appropriate size and live a higher quality life.
Yeah, I really like that saying, and I think it was Alan Roberts you said, where you can be happy at any size.
You can be almost anything you want at any size except for healthy.
There you go. Okay. I'm going to remember that one day. Say it one more time.
You can be almost anything you want at any size except for healthy.
All right. That's perfect, dude. It's very true. Like that saying keeps coming back to me, and I think about it a lot. I'm like, man, very, very good point, because not everybody really thinks about it that way. And we focus on like other big key points and goals in life, like be happy,
make money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a big goal for so many people.
And then guess what? You spend your money on Oreo crack, and then
you feel good.
Taint your body over a span of years that is going to take some serious hard work to reverse.
And that's the thing, though. It's not just a few years. I mean, you can feel detrimental effects pretty instantly if you went for, I don't know, a week. Like, just imagine a week of living off of fast food and like highly processed desserts every night, which is not out of the question for a good deal of people, for too many people.
I bet it would be harder to notice acute differences in a short period of time if you're used to eating like that, though.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who eats a more thoughtful diet, then switching to a diet like that would probably be give you a greater impact. You'd realize it more. Yeah, maybe you get diarrhea or something. I don't know.
But I think that it's also similar if you go from that like crappy diet to a better one. That you feel the effects. You know, you might not feel too good at first, but then you start to notice the difference, like more energy or clearer thought, just more steady energy, I should say. Those are usually one of the first, or some of the first few things that you'd notice.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, to go and switch, if you're someone who eats nothing but fast food and junk food and stuff like that, to make that change in itself is going to be a huge task. Like that's going to have to be something that you practice at in order to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Because again, anyone could do it one night, but that's not what it's about. It's about consistency over time, a higher percentage of time than not.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to take practice, take time. But
it's ending an addiction.
Yeah, exactly. And starting a new one. So that's what we were kind of talking about earlier, is you can kind of shift your perspective on habits and addictions. And you can maybe, if you're someone who may struggle with an addictive personality, and this is something that is getting in the way of your fitness goals, think about it this way. How about you think about a habit such as cooking and making more nutritious food at home and exercising. Make those your new addiction. How about that? But the thing is, I know we've mentioned this before, and I just said this a little while ago, is that an addiction like getting hooked on junk food like Oreos or something, it's super easy to start and very difficult to stop.
Yeah.
But an addiction, or a habit, as many people like to call it, seems to have a more positive connotation, is going to be quite difficult to start, but very easy to quit. So it truly is just a test of what you're made out of and how bad
What you want.
You want it, what you're willing to sacrifice to get what you truly want. But in this case, it's what you need, like what your body needs. If you want to avoid the pitfalls of the issues that come with, or the pitfalls are the issues, if you want to evolve the complications of obesity, then how about you just skip that altogether? Because that's completely possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that to put it in a nutshell, it's just asking people to ditch the things that they really, really love. Oftentimes,
But what is love? Like, you love Oreos.
they
like,
love the momentary sensation,
yeah, like, okay,
the
like,
pleasure
how about
that they get from it.
find other ones. Like, that's a common pleasure. Like, yeah, or it's quite a potent one.
Yeah.
But it's a common pleasure. Eating something that tastes like nut.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
how about you find something that's actually good? You ever try like a freaking let's see here, what is like something that is okay, roasted broccoli. Roasted broccoli,
some garlic salt. And
yes,
yeah. Ooh.
You cannot get any simpler and more nutrient dense than this. And also, oh my god, it tastes
Kale
amazing.
chips. I know you said you haven't had kale, but those are pretty good. Like really good.
It sounds good. You got chips in the name. I want to eat.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like you can find things that will give you a similar sort of satisfaction.
Yeah.
And I know that broccoli is probably a bad example because it's not as sweet, but there are other sweets that you can get. Have you ever heard of fruit? Man, I got these apples last weekend when we went shopping. So freaking sweet, so delicious.
Ooh.
Like,
I
oh
like
my
peaches,
God.
man. We went to go pick peaches last year when they were in season, fresh off the tree. Ooh, man, you find a ripe one, you could just eat it right there. The best thing, better than almost any slice of cake I've ever had. Like, super, super good. But that's the thing. You have to be able to make the distinction. Like we said earlier, for me, I make the distinction between something positive and negative as whether it adds to my life or it takes away from my life. So a positive habit like, well, the example I used earlier, you could get addicted to reading a book or you could get addicted to Facebook. One of those, well, both of those are going to do different things for your life. I mean, they both have the potential to be negative. Don't get me wrong. I think everything does, especially in excess and depending on specifics. But for the most part, Facebook is going to be a highly addictive and very small reward habit.
Facebook is the Oreo of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It is. That's a good way of putting it because that's very true. It's designed to be addictive and it's not designed to give very much back to you. I mean,
other than dopamine for, you know, the weird, it's like a unnatural response to something so simple like that. But it's just the attention, you know?
We're easily fascinated.
Yeah, it works for everybody. Like, even like I am not a huge fan of social media. I really am not. But I'm on it to help to spread a positive message and try to, you know, make something happen. Not that is so much about me, but is more about the message.
Yeah.
And even still, like when you make something and put it on there, you still want people to see it and like it. Like even if you don't, you wouldn't normally
so
be on
hard.
it. It's so it's a real thing.
Yep.
For everyone, no matter what. If you're on there, you're getting a sense of that. So what they have created, it works.
You don't have to try very hard to get addicted to it.
No,
You do have to try hard to get addicted to reading.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot harder to find a good book than it is to just hop on Facebook and see what your friends are doing or whatever like they put on there. Look at memes. I don't know.
Well, when your soul starts to feel like it's withering away and dying, then you know you've been on Facebook a little too long. Maybe try adopting some more positive habits. So then, I don't know, maybe learning about something that's cool and you can bring up in one of the next conversations you have with a real life person. that's another option.
Something we talk about a lot here is exploring your interests, and that's going to be the first step into really determining what direction you want to take your life in and finding like some sort of purpose for yourself, which again, not mandatory. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But I personally feel like having some direction and having an idea of how you want to spend your days is going to be helpful. It's going to keep you out of doing something you hate every single day, at very least. So start there. Honestly, see what does make you happy and bring some sort of fulfillment in your life, and then start to try to pursue that with your free time rather than using it on less productive activities.
Yeah, the crossover from the habits you will learn in pursuing things that are meaningful to you to living and maintaining a healthier lifestyle to just waking up and giving your day an overall rating that's higher than you would have in the past when you were less healthy, making that more normal. So just having better days more often.
And you can easily make this sound like you're some sort of like strict army drill sergeant or something, but practicing things like consistency, discipline, fostering dedication about things that you care about. These qualities are qualities that you want. You really want these because these are going to take you where you want to go in your life.
Yeah.
They're going to get you what you want. You have to understand that it's not going to come quick. It's not going to come easy. But if you stay true to these qualities here, at least, probably have some integrity, probably have some honesty peppered in there. Have some other qualities too, of course. But these are going to greatly help your life. If you are someone who lacks discipline and lacks consistency on things that are truly important in your life, it's time to address it, and it's time for you to feel the difference in what that has to offer. Because if you don't believe it right now, the only way you're going to believe it is if you change up and you see some results. And then if that doesn't change your mind, nothing will.
Yeah, they say nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yep.
So simply put, where are we?
We have about 3 more minutes.
All right. Well, for these next 3 minutes, I think I'd just like to say my final piece, which is thank you. Man, you put it really well earlier. Said that we have about 14 or 15 hours of talking.
Yep.
If we combine all the past podcasts so far, and so like I say every week, I'm just really happy to keep at this and be really consistent with it. I think that we continue to get better with it, and I just hope that the value that we add to people's lives is growing as we do.
I completely agree, and that's we did make it a point that we wanted to be very consistent about making this podcast, and I feel proud in the fact that we have, even though we have had to spend considerable amount of time working on it, none of the time that I've spent working on this has felt wasted in any way, shape, or form. Even if no one were to listen to one of these podcasts, I would still be glad we made it.
Yeah, same. And I know that just as we keep going, man, we're not even in the 20s yet.
I know, man. We are like in the cosmic scheme of podcasts, we are a newborn still.
Yeah, we're infants.
But really, 4 months straight of doing this after never doing it before, I think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And let's make another 4 months out of it.
That's a quarter.
It is.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, last month it was a quarter. All right. Well, we're about 25% way there, and so I'd like to thank you, the listener. I was about to say viewer. But you're not
maybe
viewing much.
you're viewing, just looking at the little cartoon. On the screen.
That's right. We got the little Iron Will Collective animation. Well, as always, I implore you to start a discussion. In this case, let us know what you think about how society can shape your views on maintaining health and establishing baseline and kind of taking care of your body as if it were the vehicle that it truly is for you throughout life. And tips and tricks that you'd recommend to help those locked in the cycle of addiction with poor habits, and how we can help better those people. I don't know, or something funny.
Well, remember, number one thing, when spreading or taking in information like this is keep an open mind and be a sponge. Learn all you can. That's all I've got. And thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.
Good night.